else, Cindy, when you think of New York City, what comes to mind?
Well, skyscrapers, concrete, flaring taxi cabs.
Lush lawns, river views, Italian castles. What's the problem?
This can't be New York.
But Cindy, it is.
Well, how do you get to this little piece of paradise?
Well, how did we get here? We came across the George Washington Bridge. We came up Fort Washington Avenue.
Hold on. Don't tell me. Did George Washington sleep here?
He did indeed, and there's a tremendous amount of Revolutionary War history in this neighborhood.
Well, not only history, but mystery. I'm talking saints. I'm talking ghosts.
And from afterlife to after hours. Woo! Are you ready to salsa, baby?
Hey, baby, pour me a couple of mojitos. Let's go check it out in this week's Cool Town, Washington Heights.
At the northern tip of Manhattan, you'll find Washington Heights, just a mile long and a half a mile wide.
To get there, just cross the Hudson River by taking the George Washington Bridge. But give yourself a little extra time. The GW carries more traffic than any other bridge in the world.
Fortunately, it has 2 levels. George on top,
And Martha on the bottom.
if you're already in Manhattan, just do as the song says and take the A train. You'll arrive at the deepest subway station and the highest natural point on the island to enter the Garden of Washington Heights, the gorgeous Fort Tryon Park.
Take a stroll through the park. Smell the flowers. Follow the rustic paths with stunning river views that will lead you to the Cloisters Museum, a building that incorporates elements from 5 monastic cloisters from the south of France, shipped to Washington Heights brick by brick.
Cool.
To house one of the world's finest collections of medieval European architecture and art.
To the east of Washington Heights and across the Harlem River lies the Bronx and Yankee Stadium.
To the south, the Heights ends with the world-renowned and huge Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center. It's one of the world's largest teaching hospitals and is growing like crazy. Just blocks away from the hospital complex, the urban landscape gives way to yet another blast from the past, Manhattan's oldest residence, the Morris Jamel Mansion. And yes, folks, George Washington really did sleep here. He used it as his headquarters during the Revolutionary War. That is, until he got run out of town by the Brits. Elise Jamel, who married Aaron Burr, still sleeps here, or so they say. Her ghost is often seen tinkering with the grandfather clock. Like George, she got run out of town, but for very different reasons, when high society found out that she used to be a prostitute.
Time to run over and check out the new National Track and Field Hall of Fame. Besides its 3 floors of exhibits, you can actually rub shoulders with elite athletes cooling down from a grueling practice session or even an international meet. Its 200-meter banked Mondo track is considered one of the fastest in the world. So if you want to see some world-class athletes, come to the Heights.
Washington Heights is a veritable buffet of ethnic subcultures.
A buffet, Perry?
Yeah, the Irish were the Heights meat and potatoes. More recent additions of Latino spices, rich Armenian and Greek flavor, and a healthy serving of German fare and kosher culture all add to the menu.
Perry, are you dieting again?
I'm starving.
Anyway, yepsters, artists, and young families have all discovered a neighborhood where regular people can afford to be Manhattanites, living well
And eating better.
Hurry, get
only 5 subway stops from Times Square. Washington Heights has been called home by the likes of Henry Kissinger, Harry Houdini, Babe Ruth, and Dr. Ruth. The A train arrived just as the George Washington Bridge went up, and elegant pre-war apartments gave way to the jazzy Art Deco buildings that now line Fort Washington Avenue.
And the beauty of it all is that it's still possible for normal people to buy beautiful homes here with big rooms, high ceilings, and maybe even a river view.
And now, for the big $200,000 question, can you live in Cooltown? Did you know that the average price for an apartment in Manhattan is $1 million? But according to the National Association of Realtors, the average price for a house across the country is only $200,000. So, what does $200,000 buy you in Washington Heights? Can you actually raise a family here? The answer is yes.
Come on to my house, my house.
Let's go visit some recent Cooltown buyers and snoop around.
My house, I'm gonna give you apple, plum, and apricot.
You came up here and you've got this gorgeous 6-room apartment, 1,800 plus square feet. And how much did this cost you?
It was in the 200 range.
$200,000 right here in Manhattan. That means anybody out there can move to Manhattan. But let me ask you this. Did you ever look at 6-room apartments downtown where you came from?
Yeah, we did.
And what did they cost there?
It was quite discouraging. Over $1 million.
Over $1 million. And she takes 5 subway stops, boom, $200,000, and frankly, a better apartment, because down there, you don't get a view of George Washington Bridge.
Did you know that Washington Heights has its very own saint? Mother Cabrini was the patron saint of immigrants, which is appropriate because New York City is a city of immigrants. But there's something very special about Mother Cabrini. Her body is enshrined here at the school, under glass for all the students to see on a daily basis.
But her head's in the Vatican.
Cindy? Cindy, I've had enough of saints. Can we go find some sinners?
Hey baby, let's go.
From the sacred to the profane, it's all about this Cooltown after dark. At 11 o'clock, the front car of the A train is packed with Broadway actors and musicians who live in the Heights. That's why it's called the Broadway Express. So the late night scene makes for some prime stargazing.
Oh yeah. You can have a dangerous amount of fun right here in the Heights. You can bar crawl with the club kids, or check out the Nouvelle Caribbean cuisine at Hispaniola, or sample some cool jazz at Bette Midler's restaurant, The New Leaf. And on to Broadway, you gotta check out Club Arca for some hot jazz and música latina. And don't forget Coogan's, where studly cops and firemen drop their guns and hoses to belt out the latest in karaoke. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the shy and retiring Perry Payne.
I'm sold. Washington Heights has it all, from architectural interest to cultural diversity to a racy history and real estate that's actually affordable. Washington Heights is the best kept secret in New York City.
Well, it's not a secret any longer. So Perry, where are we going next?
Next week, we're cruising to our newest cool town, Asheville, North Carolina.